previously on Work of Art.
This week, you'll each be creating covers for these classic books.
I have Pride and Prejudice, so I'm doing this partially nude photo shoot.
I have basically started over.
Who's got time for titles?
I made a time machine that I would want to ride in.
Designing a book cover just does not intrigue me.
I think you wanted to show yourself, and you backed out.
John, you made a true work of art. That means that your book will be published by Penguin and sold nationwide. Judith, your work of art didn't work for us. It's time for you to go.
At stake for the winner, a solo show at the world-famous Brooklyn Museum, and $100,000 provided by Prismacolor Art Uninhibited. This is Work of Art, the next great artist.
Yeah, I will. I won the Penguin Challenge last week, and I'm really excited. I'm just deciding what I should wear. Want help? No, that's quite all right. Because I would love to have my artwork shown to a broader audience and really make a career out of my artwork.
The fact that Judith went home is one of the reasons that I slept really well, just because she made me so nervous. And I'm so glad that I don't have to fake bathroom breaks anymore when she would come up and talk to me, and I'm just glad.
I'm gonna make another piece of Just don't leave, you're my muse.
I can't say that I'm happy Judith went home, but I'm just glad I didn't go home. If I can stay in this competition long enough, I think some area of the art world will accept me.
We gotta go.
We gotta get out of here.
Up two.
So where do you think we're going?
To a fancy cafe for cappuccino.
We're heading northeast.
We're going somewhere new. We're going somewhere
We are.
Yeah.
We pull up to Philippe de Paris, and Simone looked like a proud parent in front of his gallery.
Good morning, artists.
Good morning.
It gives me such pleasure to welcome you to my place, Philippe de Paris. This is where I conduct many exciting auctions. And this morning, I have arranged a very special exhibition. So please follow me.
Oh my God.
Philippe de Paris is a renowned auction house. You see advertisements for it all over the art world. I'm really excited to see what Simone is going to show us.
We walk into this one room full of these gorgeous, huge, large format photographs, high contrast colors, these really graphic, really strong, really beautiful images.
I'm really, really excited that we get to see work by Andre Serrano, who is an amazing photographer and has definitely set a benchmark for shocking and provocative photography.
Wow, I really thought that was Photoshop. Wow, that's amazing. Wow, how old are they? They look pretty old. Was one boy or one girl, or no?
No, they're both girls. I really respect Andre Serrano. I took a trek to hear him give a talk when I was around 18 years old, and it really changed the way that I felt about art and felt about myself and imagery.
This one is menstrual blood. Yeah, it's his wife's menstrual blood.
That's gorgeous.
It is, but it's like the one that scares me the most somehow. Everybody's being drawn to different photos and examining them in different ways.
It's like Jesus or something.
I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed just by the spectacularness of being so close to these images.
What does it mean to you?
I'm really not sure. It seems... I mean, the glow is amazing. I'm not really sure how you do that.
Just about the use of urine and all that stuff?
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah, this is the piss crest.
Oh, shoot.
The crucifix is in a thing of urine.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was in some kind of, like, wax or amber or something.
No. Yeah, it's urine.
I'm just not sure if it's supposed to be provocative just to be provocative.
You don't see it in any way since the guy that did it is so religious that it's a commentary on like what the world has done to Christ's message. Like we make him look like crap because we don't act like him.
Wow, man, that's actually really powerful.
That's what makes it art.
Artists, can I have your attention?
It is my great pleasure to introduce you to the man behind these extraordinary works, the great, great Andres Serrano.
I'm extremely surprised to see Andres Serrano. Even standing there looking at his work, it just didn't dawn on me that he might actually be there. And I'm excited because I feel like finally there's somebody like me that is probably going to understand where I'm coming from.
Andres, can you tell the artists about your body of work?
Well, I like to make pieces that make people feel something. Any reaction is better than indifference.
Andres is known for art that shocks the viewer. For your challenge, we want you to create your own shocking piece of art.
Oh, God.
Well, I'm very excited about this challenge. My normal work isn't shocking per se, but it will scare your average suburban housewife.
I'm not really into making shocking artwork. Being gay, people are always noticing everything you do anyway, so I don't want any unnecessary attention by doing shocking things.
Andres, any advice for our artists?
Well, you know, I would say that the most shocking work sometimes is not even meant to be shocking. I've worked with death, I've worked with menstrual blood, I've worked with the Klan. And the last year I did a show called This is what it all boils down to, really. Life, art, politics, it's all the same. But in a way, I was saying everything is relative. And people in general, they always think that their is the best. So I was just saying, if you want to see some real come check out my because I know I've got the best in town.
Thumbs up.
Oh, thank you.
You will be given $100 to shop at Utrecht Art Supplies, and until midnight tonight, and 1 hour tomorrow to create your ultimate masterpieces. I can't wait to come later on today to your studio, and I hope to see some good
Artists, good luck.
Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
We head to Utrecht to get some art supplies. So would I need wax at all if I just wanted like the exposed string? And
I know that that's how you would make candles.
all right, I'll take some. I feel like I go into every one of my pieces wanting it to be shocking on some level. Maybe it won't have the most sexually explicit imagery, but shock can be anything.
Would this be shocking?
I'm really excited about this challenge mainly because I have been referencing Andres Serrano's work in defense of my own work for a long time. I'm a Christian and I have worked with the subject matter of hypocrisy in the evangelical right for a couple years now, and so I already have an idea of what kind of work I really want to make. 5 minutes!
The last time I was shocked, it was when a friend told me he practices autofellatio, satisfying yourself sexually with your mouth. And it's sort of like a modern-day Narcissus.
Thank you very much.
I am nervous. Andres Serrano is a huge artist. Everybody knows his name. Everybody's seen his work. I'm really wishing I had immunity.
The challenge is to create a piece of shock art. In relationship to art, there's not that much that shocks me. I am more known for my video art and performance work, so I'm gonna do some type of a performance, but I have no idea what I'm gonna make.
I'm excited about my piece. Growing up in Baltimore, living in Philadelphia, I work with a lot of young black men. So many don't see any viable future except in a life of crime, except in a life of violence. So I'm working on these sculptures that are gonna be heads of black males, almost as bombs. I'm thinking about how within poorer neighborhoods, family structures are destroyed, government doesn't care, and thus the kids are almost raised as these bombs that are just waiting to explode.
Coming up on Work of Art.
Buttholes, titties, and penises.
Guy sucking himself off.
I feel like people have definitely taken more of a sexual approach to shocking.
You know, if we could do that, none of us would leave the house.
improvising.
Hey, that's what it's all about, baby.
The challenge is to create a shocking piece of art, and I'm ecstatic. I didn't really think there'd be an opportunity in this competition to really do what I would naturally do. I've decided to make a public service announcement about sex education. I'm gonna steal that book out of your bag.
The Bible? Yeah, sure.
Wow, that's old. The most taboo theme that I'm gonna deal with is children being molested by priests. Hey, Mark, you gonna grab this? It's not an anti-religion piece. I don't know anybody that's personally been sexually abused by a priest, but I read a statistic once that said there were more Catholic priests living with AIDS than there were everyone else.
Wait till you see what I'm doing. I'm gonna nail this one. I can't wait to see. I was really influenced by the critique I had with the last challenge. I'll give it back when I'm done. I don't really actually smoke it.
Hey, if you want to smoke it, you can smoke it.
One thing the judges said was I didn't push myself far enough, and if I'm going to do this kind of provocative work, I have to be completely vulnerable.
Can I use the restroom?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, dear. Hey. I'll just wait. Okay. I'm taking these very low resolution photos, intentionally so, because I want it to seem like the girl in the pictures is not aware of composition or formal elements. She's just trying to get a sexual picture of herself taken.
Oh, worse.
Jackie doing her photo shoot in the bathroom. I mean, it's entertaining as all hell, but a little warning would have been nice.
Making a loud noise. The only topic that is extremely gut-wrenching to me is sexual abuse towards children. So I'm gonna make a series of 3 photos, otherwise called a triptych, to present symbols of the things I fear the most that could possibly happen to people I care about. Yeah, this is as disturbing as it gets, in my opinion.
I want to make a work that would shock the viewer, terrify my mother, and then even shock myself.
You want to take a picture with me?
Nope.
For posterity? Come on, come on.
You're disgusting.
I have this vision of myself as this post-coital, post-bondage, post-cum shot tranny with like really bad makeup, an electrical cord around my neck, and a pink wig.
Well, I don't think I'll be shocking Ryan.
Good luck shocking Ryan about anything. What's going on, pal?
Decapitating my thumb. A phobia of mine is losing a limb or having a limb severed or amputation. Maybe when I was a little kid, my dad was like, you can cut your fingers off if you get too close to that handsaw. It's so awesome. I thought it would be interesting to use my thumb as a vessel for excess material like hair, fingernails, spit, blood. It's not like just an image. There's a soul behind it.
They're really gross. They look like little kid dicks or something weird.
Yeah.
First shocking moment that I ever had was getting an erection to a Disney film. I had no clue what was going on. I had to ask my mom what was happening with my body. Little Mermaid. It was when Ursula turned into that mega babe. She's a good-looking woman. I am tired of buttholes, titties, and penises. The thing that I'm doing is just creating a really simple contour line drawing composed of the iconic shape of Mickey Mouse's head, and the spaces are going to be filled in with this tumorous mass of misshapen genitals and buttholes and nipples.
For once, I don't think that Miles' piece will be in the top 3. It doesn't immediately draw me over to it. Looking around the room, I think that some pieces are not horrible, but not shocking. I actually feel like my work is the most shocking piece.
I think you like dressing up like a drag queen a little too much. I really like the time. No, but you're really cracking up at your picture. It's pretty intense. Ryan's piece, it's just a little... Yeah.
It doesn't look like I have cum all over my face, though. That's a problem.
So what are you doing, John?
I'm doing a guy sucking himself off.
You know, if we could do that, none of us would leave the house. I'm telling you right now.
I start off this drawing that I think is going to be about these twins. And it's like really dark. But it became really illustrative and too cutesy. And then I stepped back and I realized they weren't Siamese twins anymore, that they were fashion models. And then I thought it would be really funny to do a drawing that dealt with like herpes for Chanel or like crack whore for Dior, syphilis for Prada.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that's what you were doing.
It's like my self-aware whoreness. I'm not a whore. I'm actually quite prude, to be honest.
With Jackie, it's this really interesting contradiction. Her work is this sort of feminist stance, while at the same time, she's doing this piece which is dealing with her own body and with the male gaze.
That one's gonna say like, for your eyes only or something.
She both like hates the fact that there is the male gaze, but at the same time she's obsessed with it.
Don't get any ideas. There's nothing going on.
You're supposed to be a little boy.
Brian, why are you spooning me?
Bring the bottoms of your feet down here. I put Ryan and Jackie in the bed to use their feet as a priest and a little boy, mainly because Ryan's got big feet and Jackie has the littlest feet. You know, we're doing this picture that's supposed to be so shocking in subject matter and so taboo, but we're just giggling and having a good time.
Was it good for you?
I think I'm good. I don't know if they were uncomfortable. I think I was a little bit uncomfortable.
Oh my God.
Comfy little spoon.
I'm comfy.
Hopefully I won't like pop an eyeball out doing this or something. Although I guess that would be shocking.
I pretty much have been freaking out all day because I'm not sure where the work is going to settle. But I know that I want to create a housing for my character.
I don't know. I was gonna just try to like slide it in and then prop it up and throw beaded glue on both sides.
Okay. I'm thinking about the structure as a kind of primitive space, something that was designed almost by an insect or an animal.
I don't understand what you're doing.
I'm not sure.
Neo is putting her heart and soul into something, but I don't know what it is.
I'll call you when I need more help.
But she's very driven and very strange.
It's like it's out of control.
Hello, everyone.
Yay.
It was so wonderful to have you all at my place this morning. And I hope that you've all enjoyed meeting Andres Serrano.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here for my studio visit. I think I will start maybe with Jacqueline. What can you tell me about your work here?
I wanted to take low-resolution camera pictures and elevate it by presenting it in a context of like high art.
First of all, I think they're gorgeous to look at, and they certainly give you a rush of blood, to put it mildly. This being said, I am not totally sure whether I see the truly provocative side of it.
Well, I was also thinking of like maybe adding text that you would see like from these cell phone texts and putting it on as well, but maybe not.
I think it might be worth your while to still experiment, but at the same time, I'm just trying to think how the judges might react. So,
No, but I would really love a critique with Andres Serrano, so I want to push harder.
Well, you have two ways to get a critique.
I don't want to be on the bottom.
If the judges don't like this piece, it would really make me question if I am going in the right direction as an artist.
Coming up on Work of Art.
Artists, I have some news that may come a bit of a shock to you. Jamie Lynn, so tell me, how do you view this work as being really provocative?
I'm doing kind of a comical, modern-day rendition of The Last Supper. Christ is in the middle of this catty dinner party. There are Victoria's Secret angels and drunk girls, but in the middle of all that, they all have weapons, and they're about to either shoot him or hang him or do all of these sorts of things.
Well, I think at first hand, it looks like a very pleasant illustration.
Right,
and
right.
I personally don't find it shocking at all.
It may not be shocking to a lot of people. However, I'm commenting on the frustration that I feel being a Christian today about what mankind has done to damage Christ's message. It's just so far removed from what Christianity is supposed to exhibit. That is shocking to me.
You better find a really good message to bring across so that if you can't provoke through your work, that you can really give a punchy message to the judges.
I will do my best.
Thank you, Jamie Lynn.
Thank you.
Congratulations for winning the challenge last week.
Thank you very much.
Well done. So tell me about your current work.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
I guess the subject matter is self-explanatory.
I do know someone who can do this.
Yes.
And, well, it's kind of ruined him. He's very antisocial.
You mean he does this all day long and...
Well, I don't know if he does it all day long, but it's definitely something that he does.
I see that the style that you're using is one of children's book illustration.
I just wanted something to really pop out in the gallery. This will be cut and then mounted on this canvas. I think Simone is kind of speechless. I think autofellatio kind of scares him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tell me what you're up to.
Well, I'm not even sure myself. I'm in the process of sort of going into outer space and coming back with some information. It's going to be pretty wacky.
At this stage, I must admit, I don't understand yet what you're trying to do, so...
Yeah. I could take you over to the basic structure and let you see what I am up to.
Okay, I would love to see.
I'm hearing what Simone is saying to Neo, and I think he's completely confused as to what Neo's trying to do. I think everyone is.
Okay, so here it is.
Oh my God, this looks like a very ambitious project.
Yes. So my two positions will be either sitting inside or mingling with the crowd. So it's not going to be a very theatrical performance.
It's very difficult to give you any advice because whatever you're doing now is so diametrically opposed from what will come out tomorrow.
I know. Hopefully I'll be able to catch up with my process in studio so that'll make more sense eventually.
Again, but since you are a performance artist, I trust that you will be able to surprise us and provoke us with your performance.
Hopefully. For me, the art is a kind of discovery process. Good to see you. I am not sure exactly how I am putting it together, but I do feel something has to work. It has to come together somehow.
Artists, you have a little less than 3 hours left tonight. Before I go, I should mention to you that the winner of this challenge will get immunity. And I have some news that may come a bit of a shock to you. 2 of you will be eliminated tomorrow night.
Wow.
Oh, no.
So you better get your act together.
Oh my God.
See you at the opening.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye, good night.
I better go take a dump on my picture or something slightly more shocking. As confident as I am, there's still that holy factor.
Simone doesn't think they're shocking enough.
Why don't you have all of us, when you're not looking, write the most obscene, rude on it?
That's a good idea.
What better way can you shock people than to put yourself in a vulnerable situation?
Awesome. Let's do it.
Well, we got 2 hours.
I hate my...
Don't be so nervous.
I am nervous.
Why?
I don't want to go home.
I know.
I haven't drawn the human body or a figure since like probably 85, and I'm really wishing I had immunity. But I feel like this is the best translation for the challenge.
Oh, yeah. Holla. Whoa! The mold's done. I crack it open, and the mold is beautiful. So I know that the basis for the sculptures is going to be really good. All I got to do is just start cranking them out. I think you should avoid text.
You could just call the piece Sex Education.
I know the popular consensus is I should avoid text, but I'm just putting text on there. I'm playing around in Photoshop to make it look like an old poster. Andreas Serrano did the famous Metallica album cover for Load with the blood and semen mixed. I don't want to let the guy down.
Come on, baby, don't do this to me. We have got a serious problem. The coffee maker is broken.
Do you have any fingernail to donate?
Yeah.
I'm collecting fingernail. I took a different approach, and I'm actually one of the only sculpture pieces for this challenge. Tomorrow's kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it is.
It's like 2.
Like
what 2, you know? I am a very competitive person. It's like, oh, it's kind of sick. Being a twin, I think, has a lot to do with it. 2 girls growing up, both of them like art. I was bred that way, I guess.
Let's walk out of here.
I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm at, especially since a lot of people have a lot of work to do tomorrow.
We have an hour to finish up these pieces, and I have each minute allocated to what needs to be done, so I'm running around like a madman. I'm starting to realize really quick that I'm not gonna get 9 sculptures. Time's flying. I'm hoping to at least get 3. That's a double elimination, so I'm a little worried.
What am I bleeding into? I can't even get a drop out of this.
I have to set up my thumb vials. So it was a little Nicole blood drive.
I never said I can't do it. I can't do it.
Okay.
I think Nicole's piece is kind of amateurish and schlocky and, ooh, I used real blood, you know. Oh, okay. Wow, are you a freshman in college? Like, it's not shocking at all.
I'm making my piece and I'm just like, this is not that shocking, and I like the piece, but I'm really not stimulated by it. I'm trying to think of a way to make it more interesting than I do, and it's the most horrific idea, but it's just so damn good that I'm super embarrassed that I've got to go and do what I've got to do. The piece is about the first erection that I ever had, and the only way to like finish that piece is to mark it with the last erection that I've ever had. Oh my God. I feel really great about the piece. I feel like it's finished. I feel totally relieved, relaxed, and a little sleepy.
Hey guys, we have 5 minutes.
I worked all day yesterday trying to get my hut to stand up, and it didn't happen. So I decided to make a small teepee to sit inside of the hut. I think that when I'm able to get into my costume, I might even shock myself, frankly.
It's standing.
Artists, your time is up. Let's get ready for your show.
Coming up on Work of Art. There's a penis. There's another penis.
You shout out all the time.
Would you consider what I do shouting out without people asking? Don't ask me for advice.
It almost has a phallic look.
And you can't really tell whether I've been tied up and someone came on my face, or whether I just tied myself up to sort of like think I look hot, you know?
So you think you look hot?
Disney gave me my first erection, and I had to ask my mom about it.
That's original to have your first erection because of Walt Disney.
Yeah.
I had my first one because of Renoir, so... but I'm much older than you, so...
Yeah, sure. You know, he's a good one to have one, too.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Please welcome back your judges. Critic Jerry Saltz, Jeannie Greenberg-Rowatin, art advisor and gallerist, gallery owner Bill Powers, and your guest judge, critically acclaimed Andre Serrano. This week, your challenge was to create a piece of art that would shock us. We wanted you to get our attention. I personally can't wait to see what we have in store. Let's open up the gallery and find out how you did.
With this piece, I'm depicting young black men as bombs, speaking to the dangers of the society that many grew up in.
So it sort of reminded me of like Warhol's Marilyn Monroe sort of thing.
I think that my piece is aesthetically pleasing and sort of gross.
Well, we knew somebody had to give us the cum shot.
So who's this?
When I see my piece, I'm actually very happy with it. I think it looks pretty cool taped to the wall like that. I think I might win this one.
I felt like I gave it my all, but I think Andre Serrano is going to be a really hard artist to please. He's seen it, smoked it, snorted it all.
I once took a picture of a man sucking his own penis.
Yes.
And when it's a photograph of it, it's like different.
Are they photos with Photoshop backgrounds?
The title of the piece is In an Instant, touching on how sexual abuse is permanent. Once that innocence is gone, there's no reclaiming it. There's no way you can put it back together.
Nicole's files.
Taking a phobia of mine into a communal space, it becomes very shocking and grotesque.
The strange thing is, I think it's good because I don't actually like looking at it.
I'm glad she put herself in the work.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about my piece through to the point where I was going to become kind of this scatological mess. I think I was working towards shocking myself.
I think that's a bag of
I don't smell anything.
Putting your work out for public viewing puts the artist in a very vulnerable position. I left a jar of Sharpies on the floor to allow the viewers to vandalize it.
People love it.
Knowing that.
And they're writing on it.
There's a penis. There's another penis.
For my piece, I made a drawing of mutilated and twisted genitals confined into the iconic shape of Mickey Mouse.
I like how you let this kind of drip there.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man, it's semen.
Actual? Faux pas, man.
I'm just hoping I can make something that entices you and pulls you in because it's beautiful, but once you start sifting through all of the iconography, you realize that something's not quite right.
Should we move on?
Okay, sure.
I'm shocking the audience by messing up what is glamorous. It's just this girl in this dress and this bleeding stump of a face.
That looks like my Chanel collar that I had on the other day.
Oh, yeah.
That's my dress and that's my collar. For this challenge, there will be one winner and 2 of you will be going home tonight. We would like to see the following artists for the crit: Jacqueline, John, Eric, Abdi, Nao, and Jamie. If I didn't call your name, you're safe. Jamie, let's start with your piece.
I decided to depict Christ much like you see him down in some parts of the South. He's commercialized, and all of these cast of characters are engaging in all sorts of debauchery, but if you look closely, a lot of them have weapons, and so Christ's safety is placed in peril in a seemingly comical way.
As you're describing it, it sounds at its best like a New Yorker cover, not something shocking.
A lot of contemporary artists have tackled The Last Supper, but this feels more like a white trash wedding.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Not everyone can be shocking. You have to have a strong character for that. I don't think you really have it.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay, Eric, why don't you tell us about sex education?
I came along this idea of a 1970s photograph that somebody considered fine art.
To me, I thought I was looking at like a Motley Crue album cover.
That's what
you want.
Going for.
And you got it. If I were trying to eliminate you, I would have said, write sex education. Because it did turn it into a poster, Eric.
This whole thing about priests and little boys, if it's more explicit, then it's more shocking, but I didn't really get the inferences.
Okay, let's move on. John?
This is The Recluse and is about autofellatio, which kind of fascinates me.
He has an awfully long penis.
It is a depiction of the pose and then the steps on how to get into the position.
Why did you misspell the word fellatio?
That is very unfortunate.
This is shocking to like a 10-year-old.
It should have been a photograph of you attempting this pose. That would have been shocking.
I find the words more interesting than the piece itself. And of course, the fact that you misspelled autofellatio, that's okay. A lot of people who write graffiti are bad spellers, too.
All right, well, let's move on. Thank you, John.
I felt it would be interesting to take these really ridiculous portraits and allow the viewer to interact with the piece.
I like the fact that you brought us into the bathroom and we all got to do our own graffiti.
The great thing about this piece is what you reveal about the viewer in this, and it becomes part of the piece.
Thank you.
It would be interesting for you to write some on there yourself. Some real
When did you decide to incorporate the defacing and the interactive quality?
Well, I was speaking with Simone. He felt that the images weren't really shocking at all, and then I thought, well, what would be shocking? And that's when I kind of came up with the idea.
Eric, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I said put the jar out and let everybody else write if you can't think of what to write.
It was something I'd already been thinking of doing.
Of course.
Oh, she was smart to listen to you then.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Jacqueline. Let's move on. Ayo, could you please explain what we're looking at?
I was trying to get to this place of building almost like an animal would build.
But why were you rubbing yourself?
I wasn't rubbing myself, I was rubbing this.
Is it supposed to be excrement?
It wasn't supposed to be excrement, but I think in the end it did read as excrement.
See, you don't really know what this piece is. We don't know what the piece is, and it comes off, therefore, as incredibly familiar, kind of adolescent mixed with shock your grandmother performance art.
For me, this is one of the more interesting pieces because it's disturbing. It made me think of homeless people, the people we don't want to look at, and especially when we were speaking about your work in front of you like you didn't exist, that also is uncomfortable.
Thank you, Nao. Let's move on.
My piece is titled IED. So many of our cities are so disenfranchised, stricken by poverty. Family structures are destroyed, and thusly kids grow up as these improvised explosive devices. So I have these 3 black male portraits, and I'm depicting them as bombs.
They have a kind of, if not shock, at least magnetic power.
There's a quieter shock to this. It wasn't one after it's already exploded. It's the threat of imminent violence that's connected to the piece.
It just has lots of different layers to it, and the more that I hear about it, the more I'm enjoying it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. You have given us plenty to discuss. You can head up to the studio until I call you back.
When they said that jar of markers and allowing people to write on your work of art is what made your piece, without it, you fail. Where did you get that idea?
So because you simply suggested it, because you shout out all the time without anybody
Just
ever
trying to
asking.
help.
No, seriously.
If you consider what I do shouting out without people asking, don't ever look me in the eye and ask again.
I don't,
because
but
that is what you did.
It's something that I'd already been
So my
thinking
point is
about.
it doesn't matter who
mean
thought of
that
it.
just because you
It matters
say
that
it.
if I'm shouting things out that you don't want to hear, don't ask me for advice.
Okay, guys, I think we have a very big decision tonight. We are sending 2 artists home.
I was surprised how many people defaulted to sex as subject matter.
I wasn't shocked at all, but then again, I'm not surprised because it's not easy to shock, especially on demand.
Let's talk about some of the successes tonight.
Abdi's was one of the more successful pieces, I thought, because it pulled you in a kind of weird, mysterious way.
The formal qualities of his heads, his kind of ritualistic candle art, really pushed it through.
Yeah. Abdi's piece was very impressive. I liked it a lot.
How do we feel about Jacqueline?
She's just coming out as an artist, and she's just finding her voice.
It's pretty amazing if you think about it that this woman allowed everyone to touch her with those pens and express anything they want.
Even if it was somebody else's idea, she took that idea and incorporated that into her piece. That is putting it out there.
Okay, let's talk about who disappointed us tonight. Let's move on to Eric's piece.
Listening to him, he has a lot of social complaints, yet he's not able to put it in his work.
I appreciated Eric's interpretation of the work because I didn't see a lot of things. The piece failed for me because I didn't get it initially. It had to be explained to me.
What did we think about Neo's performance art?
It was the weirdest thing I saw here tonight.
She's a performance artist. This is her trade. And she couldn't come up with an explanation for this work?
I'm afraid that in Jamie's case, it could be her Last Supper. I feel like to tackle a religious theme, you should have a little more punch to it. I tried to get lost in the characters. I couldn't.
Maybe she needs to be pushed more and to be warned that there's not going to be a next time.
Okay, let's talk about John's piece, The Recluse.
If only he had photographed himself attempting the position.
And why would that have worked?
It'd be so much weirder. It would shock me.
In this case, he just went jokey with something that could have been interesting.
Okay, I think we've made our decision. Jacqueline, Abdi, we wanted you to shock us, and you did. But one of you captured our attention and kept us thinking about your piece after we stepped away. Congratulations. Abdi.
Thank you so much.
You made a true work of art.
Thank you. I really wanted to create something that was shocking on a deeper level, and it means so much to win this.
So, Abdi, that means that you have immunity for the next challenge.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both. You can head up to the studio, and please send your colleagues down.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks again.
He won.
Congratulations.
Such a good job.
Congrats, Abdi. That's awesome.
Yo, thanks a lot, man.
Good luck.
The art world is fickle. The only rule in art is what works, and none of your pieces did.
John, you gave us comic relief. You didn't go deep, and you didn't shock anyone.
Neo, you are a performance artist, but tonight you acted out a scatological mess.
Jamie, you took on The Last Supper and gave us Apostles Gone Wild, but not wild enough.
Eric, you chose a taboo subject matter, but it didn't translate in the piece at all. John, Jamie, Neo, Eric, two of you are leaving us tonight. Jamie, you are safe. You can head up to the studio.
Thank you.
Eric, you are safe. That means John, Neo, your works of art didn't work for us. It's time for you to go.
Winning a challenge and then completely losing a challenge is a little extreme. It's really hard to understand.
You can all head up to the studio. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Failure is completely okay. In the process of making art, we have to really push beyond our own boundaries and be able to fail.
Yo, John.
So nice to know. You were just starting to get into my weirdness.
I often make work that is very fragile and very difficult. I don't know that the kind of work I make has been valued in a fine art gallery situation.
I feel like I was trying to please Andre Serrano and not myself in this challenge. And that's where I made the misstep.
Next on Work of Art.
Are you narcissistic by any chance?
I'm a tortured rock star.
That's the danger.
Oh my God, what have I done?
If Nicole ever made a move on me, the universe might implode.
They look like a really cute couple. A match made in Urban Outfitters heaven.
To learn more about Work of Art, the next great artist, visit BravoTV.com.
Matches, pretty matches.